Stay up to date on the latest in music. Listen to Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light. Join the Sound Up Pod Squad simply by liking our Facebook, following us on Blue Sky, Instagram, X, and signing up for our weekly newsletter at sounduppod.com.
This is Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters.
Welcome, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I am Alan Light.
And this week on Sound Up, we start looking back on 2024, the year in music. With this, the first of 3 look-back year-ending episodes. Today we're going to revisit the biggest, most jaw-dropping, ear-shattering, mind-blowing stories in music news.
To help us all sort it out, it's our old friend, Esquire Magazine Digital Director Madison Vane. And a reminder, next week's episode will be another 2024 look back, where we'll select the best album, the best song, and the biggest artists of 2024.
No problem there. It's like picking your favorite child. That's easy. Finally, on December 31st, we're going to drop the last Sound Up episode of 2024, which will be our holiday mailbag episode. And thanks to you who have submitted questions for us for that episode.
So here, at long last, to help us make sense of it all, to sort out the ups, downs, hits, misses, disasters, and triumphs of 2024 is our friend Esquire Magazine's own Madison Vane. Madison, always a pleasure as we dive into 12 months of chaos in the music world.
12 months of chaos. It's probably the right way to talk about it. The highs were high, the lows were low, and it got kind of gross there for a second.
And it got kind of gross. There's your tagline for 2024.
When did it start to get gross?
or when had it stopped?
Yeah, right. That's what I mean.
That's sort of a through line to the history of the music industry. But I was just thinking when I was going through all of the headlines that I feel like have really stuck around for a year. And it was basically a year ago that Cassie filed her lawsuit against Diddy. And that news story has not died, right? Only gotten more disturbing, only spread further and further into the industry. The ripple effect is finally being felt. She filed that lawsuit in November 2023, and it was like thud. One, everybody went from loving having Diddy on their Uber Eats commercials and on their Super Bowl screens to immediately being like, oh yeah, you could always tell. Yep, this has been hiding in plain sight. Of course, we should have known. Everybody's pouring through all of the past interviews saying, of course. And then it went quiet. He settled that lawsuit so fast. And then all of a sudden there's FBI raids on all of his properties. There are leaked videos of him abusing people in hotel hallways. Every other thing that goes with a major news story in America. There is conspiracy theories. There are deep fakes of Beyonce and Jay-Z. There are deep fakes of Beyonce watching sex crimes. I mean, it's...
Oh my God, really? That's horrible. Oh, Jesus, I haven't seen... That is obnoxious. Holy cow.
It just shows how all of these stories work, which is that for the truth to come out takes a while, for arrests to be made, for documents to be shared, for lawsuits to be really filed. But the energy of conspiracy theory goes so fast and it moves so much wider and you can't keep up with it. And it's your aunt on Facebook sending you links that have pictures of things that are absolutely not real. But I do feel like that this has hung over the music industry in a really weird way. There has been so much theorizing about who's in his black book. There's been so much theorizing of who's going to go down with him. There has been so much theorizing about who was against him, who was with him, who's the victor, who are the victims. And meantime, it's only getting started, really.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because the nature of these allegations, so much are about these are things that happen kind of publicly, right? At the parties, in the office meetings, in things that bring in a lot of other witnesses, if not participants, rather than crimes that are sort of one-on-one behind closed doors. It's a different kind of a conversation, right? And obviously, as we've most recently seen with the Jay-Z allegations,
right,
presumably going to continue to unfold and draw other names. I mean, if this becomes anybody who was at one of Diddy's parties, all of a sudden is a suspect in something, that brings in a whole lot of very prominent people.
I wonder, Madison, what do you think? I mean, we have come like nose to nose with the Me Too moment in the music business before. Is this it?
No.
No.
Music's not getting a Me Too movement, you guys.
Damn.
This is about the specifics of this case. This is not something that you
Yeah.
see goes up in other, because we will say the other, I mean, it sort of came and went a little bit quickly, I guess, waiting for trial, but there was the allegation made against Garth Brooks about abuse of, I guess it was the woman doing his hair at one point. You know, we do continue to see sort of trickle out these kinds of charges within the music community.
Yeah, and I think you'll continue to see that. I mean, some of this is the age of Diddy and Jay-Z. They are young enough to not have us wipe our memories of their past. And that's not saying that Jay-Z is guilty. That is just saying that I understand that people are going to want to probe into people. He is 55 years old. This is not like, oh, it was the 70s. Of course, these people were doing things and everybody looks another way and doesn't pursue things. I think that they straddle multiple generations in a way that is going to be interesting and people are going to want answers about all of this. Now, it's weird to have the Jay-Z allegation come out almost exactly a year after Diddy. I mean, this is just how long things take to move. But the response to both has been so opposite, especially with the media. You know, the Jay-Z news came out and it was very much, this guy has a quack lawyer, this is blackmail. People were accepting Jay-Z's defense sort of wholesale in a way that they were not even remotely waiting for Diddy to even have a defense.
Right.
So I think that we are just beginning the fallout of all of this, and there will be more allegations made against more people in these circles. You've also seen, I think, the Hollywood machine getting ahead of some people. You know, there was all those tabloid stories a couple months ago from like the Denzel Washington. They were like, Denzel gets in a fight with P. Diddy in 2002. And it's like, well, who the hell cares about that? But it's just like, you know, them trying to be like, guess what? No friendship, you know, like, just to be clear, these people are not friends.
Yeah, Will Smith, I guess, most recently has been getting out saying, no, I had nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah. Somebody was there. Somebody.
A lot of people were there.
That's what I'm saying. And people like these people. I mean, Jay-Z, in my mind, is not exactly in that squeaky clean sort of LL Cool J sort of column in terms of hip hop artists. But at the same time, he is the guy who wrote 99 Problems and A Bitch Ain't One.
Yeah, but I think going back to what Madison was saying, it's like, I get the feeling that people want Diddy to be guilty. People want Jay-Z to be innocent.
Yes.
That's true.
You know, at this point, people are so invested in Jay-Z and Beyonce. They're invested in their children. They're invested in watching Blue Ivy dance. They love Mufasa. I mean, we've been fans of Beyonce since she was so young. There's all of these sort of like more complicated feelings with it. But as for whether or not this is going to be a watershed Me Too movement in music, I just don't think it's possible. Unlike almost every other art form, like a movie star films a movie on set and then it releases into the world, and there is not this just absolute interaction between them and their fans the way there is with music. Music is just an in-person experience, and often one people pursue because they like to have sex with people. So like, it's just not, I mean, you're not cleaning it up. But I do think that this is hung over it. Like, we've seen this with everything. We have seen people theorizing like, who's next on the Black Book? Does this why Justin Bieber seems like he's so sad? Like, I mean, you'll see people going in so many directions with this that I do feel like that this was like the defining story in the music industry this year. And I don't think it's even close to being done. We've got a long time left with this one.
Oh, great.
I know.
The other story that seemed not as necessarily as scandalous or controversial, but certainly heated, that hung over the year, good, bad, and otherwise, was still the ticket business.
Another thing that I don't see getting fixed anytime soon.
A couple of moments that once again sort of lit the flame around everybody getting, you know, all up in arms about the way that this business is transacted. We got to hearings in Congress, at least, you know, preliminary discussions. There was the Oasis reunion. There was the ongoing Eras Tour world domination.
I mean, the Oasis reunion is pretty much story number one at Esquire. I have to say, this is the only...
More than Eras?
Oh my gosh.
For your guys?
Yeah. The Oasis tour is the only thing that matters at Esquire. You guys, if you need any news about Oasis, come to Esquire.com. We are so excited for this. It was funny that everybody was really scrambling to get into the pre-sales for the European dates. And I just kind of felt like, okay, you guys, there's got to be American dates that are going to get announced right after this. And of course, sure enough, there were. My only worry is, I understand they needed to give the fans enough notice to plan trips, buy tickets, and make arrangements. But a year for the Gallagher brothers to stay friendly. Absolutely. Like, they should not start rehearsing. I hope they're not in contact. Like, they should pick this up 3 weeks before tour.
They should rehearse in separate rooms across the city from each other.
We cannot risk this. It's too much notice. They have so much time, like the holidays, like they can't get together for Christmas. They should not be allowed near each other.
You've seen the Vegas odds break down into they'll break up before the tour starts.
Free
They'll
tour?
break up at the first show. They'll break up during the tour. Like you can look at different ways to parlay this thing.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing we have going for us in this is that Noel Gallagher has a big bill to pay in his divorce settlement.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
There's a good chance that had a lot of the reason to do with why.
Why do I feel like so many tours of this nature happen because of that? Because there's going to be alimony.
He's got to refill the coffers a little bit. That's fine with me. As long as they play the songs, I don't care. I'm in for it.
So did we learn anything new really between all of the frenzy around the Oasis tickets and the frenzy around the second stage of the Eras tour becoming not only the first $1 billion tour of all time, but the first $2 billion tour of all time? Is there anything, as Congress looks at the Ticketmaster Live Nation relationship, or is it just right now this is how it goes for all the complaining about the economy? People have the money to spend on these tickets, and that's what they're going to do.
Well, they are spending it. I feel really bad for how hard people have to think about whether or not they can go to a concert. And I don't remember how many years ago it was that, like, basically, it was like Bruce Springsteen being like, I have to raise my ticket prices. That's totally going to help with the scalpers. First of all, no, it didn't. But like, you've noticed he hasn't lowered his prices because he's also making more money now.
Right.
Yeah.
So everybody's just kind of gotten on board and pretending like they're doing as much as they can. I'm sure that they also feel bad for the fans, but like, is it bad news to have a $2 billion tour? No, I don't think Taylor's devastated by how hard her fans, mainly her fans' parents, had to work to get tickets.
But I wonder, in terms of the way that we as fans view Ticketmaster and the complaints that have happened, as Alan's pointing out, with these massive tours that fans got screwed, basically. For like trying to get tickets and not being able to, and then paying a fortune. Is there any guidance? Are we seeing Ticketmaster saying anything? Are we seeing managers, agents? Is anyone saying anything about this problem that the fans are livid about?
I don't think this is a problem for artists or managers or agents or venues.
Who then? Who is it a problem for?
It's a problem for anyone who buys a ticket. That's about it.
I mean, in terms of the fix, who do we look to?
But we're saying Ticketmaster. We've pointed out 1,000 times on this that the artists themselves have a tremendous amount of say in this.
Yes.
They're just as big a part of the problem or the solution as they want to be. Mm-hmm. So you can't just make this a Ticketmaster problem.
1,000%, and that was my point. Are we hearing anything from, that's why I said, the agents, the artists, the managers, knowing, because I had this conversation with little Steven, I'll be honest and say I had a conversation. I'm like, dude, I've been playing Bruce Springsteen on the radio since 1976. I can't afford $5,000 to go and see Bruce. How is Mr. Man of the People? How is that okay? What do you and isn't anybody saying anything?
The managers and agents are obviously not going to say anything.
Well, it's their 10%.
Artists are having to walk this very fine line where they want to say enough to make people think that they're also befuddled by this problem, but they are certainly complicit in this problem. It's really sad because even for like me, like sometimes I'll get offered a ticket to a show. I live in Manhattan. I don't even have to drive anywhere, right? Mm-hmm. Like I can just pop on a subway. It is an absolute grind to go to a concert. Like it's check-in, it's security, it's getting your seat, it's the expense of everything at the concert. Like we are going to reach, I would think, a tipping point where everything is either going to need to be so much smaller or trying to be as big as Eras, where it's your summer vacation, it's your travel, it's your planning your whole, organizing your entire year around this event. And like that feels good, but it doesn't work for the middle of the road band. Like, what are they supposed to do? They're going to kill their own market in that regard.
And I want a specific, Madison, over the years, we've talked a lot about festivals.
Yes.
In your pre-childhood, in your pre-motherhood life, you were a festival stalwart.
It was a childhood of some sorts, yes.
Yes. But one thing that we did start to see this year was a real softening on the festival side that Coachella did not sell out at the speed that it usually does, that a bunch of festivals were canceled, a bunch had lower, lower turnout. What do you see as a relationship? Is everything going into these mega concerts where that's where everybody's putting their money? And as you said, it's becoming the travel, the trip, all the things that you associate with going to a festival now are revolving around these stadium shows.
Yeah, I do think that that's part of it. When you're going to London for Eras, you don't need to see Taylor at a festival. You're picking one tourism music trip for the year, and you're going to go to your number one favorites, your favorite artist. But aside from that, over the last 10 years, we've all complained that all of the lineups became the same. So how are you going to justify me spending that much money to go see the same lineup I could see closer or further? There's no differentiation. So if Bonnaroo and Coachella are the same experience, you just lose all of the loyalty of the audience. The problem with Coachella too is it costs so much to go to, and it's not London and Eras where I can then take a train to Paris for a day and I can do other tourism. Then you're just in the Indio Valley and you're wondering, what the hell am I doing here? It's so hot. So there's all of that. But no, the festival bubble was always going to have to burst. It was getting crazy. The lineups were so similar. They were all Live Nation events, obviously. They were all just booking. Some people were just basically underwriting their tours by just doing the festival circuit. They were just going from one to another. That was never going to be able to last. And now that we're used to concert tickets costing $300, why do I need to go deal with all of camping for 4 days in the dust? I could just go stay in a nice hotel in a nice town and eat some good meals around there. So I do think that that's going to keep changing. I do think that there's going to be a lot of people who are trying to do mega tour. The problem is what happens to everybody else. Not everybody can pull off a mega tour. And it's just further going to create this problem where it's really hard to discover new music. It's hard to uplift bands to the next level of stardom.
No, it's everything around the, income inequality discussion and every other part of society really does hit this as well, because we know the margins for touring have gotten much narrower. It's more expensive to do everything. So, everything's much tighter, more efficient. If you're running a smaller scale, it's a very, very tough way to make a living. Whereas if you're running a massive stadium effort, you're making hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
Yeah, I've talked to Jack White about that because he will go out and he really only wants to do weekends. He doesn't want to do Tuesday night shows. And it's really not financially. He can only do that because the rest of his business performs so well. Now, most musicians who are touring have to tour exhaustively to even break even for their year. And so they can't plan around these dates that would let them become even a mega tour, right? Nobody wants to go on a mega tour show on a Tuesday. They want it to be a trip that they can plan a weekend around. So I think we're going to keep seeing problems. One thing I thought was going to happen, if you had asked me this 3 years ago, I really thought everybody was going to be trying to move to a residency model as a way of cutting costs. That has not really taken up the way that I thought, but let's just keeping an eye out. I mean, it can't continue the way it is. We'll just keep losing viable musicians. People will keep leaving the industry.
And we should just briefly mention, and I know we need to take a break, this was the first full year of the Sphere. I think with still a lot of question marks around what that looks like as a model. Is it something that they can expand in the way that they were hoping to?
Looks like they did make the segue into jam bands, though. We talked about that.
Only into jam bands and only into older bands with more affluent followings. I mean, they extended the Eagles. They've added more dates for Dead and Company again, but they're not booking anybody under the age of 60 into that room. And I don't know how sustainable that is either.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about the Sphere is I spent the first half of my year working very hard to get my parents tickets to all the shows at the Sphere. That really took up a lot of time. Shout out to Mary and Frank. I hope you had a great time. Now they've stopped asking me for tickets. So have you already exhausted your audience?
Right.
Because you're booking them also back to back to back. They're not going to Vegas 3 times in 1 year.
Right.
Is your Dead audience and your Eagles audience and your Fish audience that different?
Right.
That you can count on them coming back over and over again. Yeah.
I think the thing with the Sphere is that really its viable future is as an advertising wing, right? The outside screen is where it's going to make money, and hopefully that lets it support music. I don't know that it's going to expand, right? The city of London already shot down plans.
They said no.
Yeah.
I mean, Abu Dhabi, I think, is going to do it. They announced that's the next one, or Dubai, I forget. And that makes a certain amount of sense, but it's hard to see it as going to lots and lots of markets. So
We've got Madison Vane from Esquire magazine here. We are running down the biggest, most jaw-dropping stories of the year just past. We haven't talked about Beyonce. We haven't talked about bands blowing up, bands getting back together a little bit. A lot more to come on Sound Up with Madison Vane next. All right, back on Sound Up with Esquire's Madison Vane, the perfect person to run down the year just past. We've talked about some of the big stuff. We talked about Diddy. We talked about Jay-Z. We've talked about the era's multi-billion-dollar tour. What else do we need to touch on, Madison? What do you think? What's the other big stories that we need to get to?
How can we talk about 2024 and not talk about Kendrick and Drake, right?
Beef of the year.
You got it. I mean, I know we're all tired of it.
Can you please explain why anyone gives a shit about this? Really?
Probably because it's so embarrassing for Drake.
I was going to say for both of them.
No.
Like children.
No, if you win, it's not embarrassing.
Yeah. Also, I think it's embarrassing for Drake on so many levels. One, it's embarrassing. It's also like highly gross. Again, we're back into the gross timeline. But it's also embarrassing that he is just simply so much worse at this than Kendrick. And Kendrick is not tired of proving him so much worse than him. Like, Kendrick shouldn't even be bothered because he just comes and he's just so much better at this. He's such a better rapper. His music is so much better. He's so much more adventurous. And then every time it looks like Drake can't get up again, Kendrick's like, oh, just let me remind you how bad you are at this.
And yet, Drake was the 4th most streamed artist of the year worldwide.
Well, certainly, no matter what, both artists are massive.
Though he has taken a reputation hit, he has not really taken a popularity hit. And we're still talking about two of the most massive figures in pop music today. And I think you can't forget hip hop was born in competition.
Yes.
Hip hop is born in, I am better at this than you are. From day one.
I'm richer. I'm prettier.
I drive a bigger car. Even if you don't drive a car, you're driving about the Cadillac you drive. And that is endemic to the form, and the fact that this is still, that competitive streak is still there, no matter how big, no matter how gross, still, draws a lot of interest and a lot of attention when you're, particularly talking about people at this scale of fame and success and celebrity.
Is there any equivalent in any other genre? I mean, it just seems so. I know I get what you said, Alan. That makes a lot of sense. That competition is sort of where this sort of arose from, and you're a better MC than that whole thing. But here we are, whatever it is, 35 years, 40 years later. Why is beef still such a big part of it? I don't get it. We've come through hip hop artists like, who are smart, who are doing political commentary, social commentary. It's not just about, I'm better than you. Why does this still...
There was Questlove who said this is the death of hip hop, right? There was Questlove who said these two guys beefing like this is the death of hip hop. I much as I love Amir, I kind of think that's ridiculous. And when you saw how Not Like Us became a universal phenomenon, became bigger than a song, became something at the Democratic Convention, became at every halftime show, marching band of every football game all fall, that notion of we're better than you are still connects with everybody. Madison, I don't think that's that hard to understand.
No, and MC battles are ingrained in hip hop. I mean, that is just a part of what hip hop is. It's like, yes, you evolve, you grow, but look, you go to a rock concert, there's still a drum solo. No matter how stupid it is, it's
not
still
true.
Part of the concert.
That's not true. That is not true.
We haven't grown past it.
I know you're a drummer, Roger,
Yeah, but I'm like, enough of that already. Come on.
Dude, when I see a drum solo, my eyes glaze over. It doesn't happen that much. And that's my point here. I mean, I get even an MC battle. Great. I mean, be as badass as you want to be, but at the end of the day, don't you guys got to walk out together and have a drink?
Oh, they're definitely not going to do that.
I know they're not. I know. I don't understand it.
I will say is, I totally agree, right? Historical context is important. Rap battles have been a foundation of this industry. This is also extremely of this moment on the internet. And what Drake is good at is the internet. And this is how you stay in the news. This is how social media timelines are filled with you.
So
This
the
is how
internet
it
has
goes.
really sort of
People-
fostered this continuation of
Well,
this.
and
Yeah,
why
so-
do people love the Real Housewives? Because they throw drinks at each other, not because they're
Yeah,
friends.
you're right. You're absolutely right. Sorry.
I think Drake's smart enough to know that he's not going to win, but that's not the point for him. The point for him is the battle. It keeps him out there.
I actually don't know. I feel like he's kind of lost his way in this. Now, of course, I believe that if you feel truly defamed, you should feel like there are legal opportunities for you to recoup any losses, blah, 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 blah. But filing a lawsuit against the record label is like the least cool thing you can do.
That is the least
right?
cool thing you could do. I lost, and so I'm going to go to court.
I'm going to sue you.
He's like, okay, you're right. I am way worse at this than you, but now I'm going to sue you. And I'm going to sue your record label instead of even you. Like, it's just, that is like the true, like, taking a knee. Like, okay, I guess we all agree. You really lost.
Yeah.
So the other thing I would say was the music phenomenon this year certainly were all the girl pop.
Yes.
Sabrina
Woohoo.
Carpenter, Chappell Roan, Charlie XCX, that
Man, oh,
really
man.
just steamrolled the charts, the awards, the attention, the internet, all of it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is incredible. I mean, Alan was recapping the best albums for us on Esquire all year long. And I think that he said it best when he filed his final update, which is it was only a few years ago where we were all getting together to talk about how Neil Portnoy had told the women that if they want to be the big storyline in music, they're going to have to step up. And they were all like, okay, hold my beer, babe. Because look at us now. Now, women have always had big pop careers, but this feels like the least beef centric. It's not Britney versus Christina. It is not there can only be one. It's not like everybody trying to find their place. Like, I think that everybody has their own lane. Even if they secretly hate each other, we don't even know about it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of gone from the storyline.
It's a very unified front between.
Yeah.
And we're excluding like Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion and people like that, right?
No, I mean, I would include them. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
their year of new releases for albums, but I just felt like it was incredible to watch Brat Summer be Brat Summer, and that to have had no effect on Sabrina Carpenter still becoming as big as Sabrina Carpenter became this year. I also just love that. I mean, Charlie XCX, my beef with Gen Z at this moment is them thinking that she's theirs. I'm like, she's a millennial artist. She has been ours for a long time. But it's just been cool to watch all of these people rise. And listen, Chappell's had plenty of problems along the way handling this moment of fame. But for the rest of people, all of their audiences just kind of let everybody succeed. It hasn't been, the Selena Gomez fans trying to pick fights with the other fandoms online. It's just been, wow.
Didn't I just see that Selena Gomez and Ariana Grande they're both nominated for Grammys, and they're like being all supportive of each other, and it's great.
It is nice. I mean, it also just makes it such like a easier time to be online.
But it's amazing. I mean, the top 5 albums, and 8 of the top 10 worldwide on Spotify were by women.
Well, women.
And they're all really good. We haven't even mentioned like the Billie Eilish record,
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually glad you mentioned it, because that record could be that good and Billie could be as big as she is, and it's still not what we're talking about. That just really puts into scale how big Charlie XCX Summer was. That just puts into scale how crazy Espresso has been for Sabrina Carpenter. I mean, it's just been wild to watch this all take off at once.
Better than Lilith Fair.
Well, I can't speak from experience on that.
Yeah, well, that's great.
Love Lilith Fair, but now these girls they're really stepping up.
Let's lead from that into Beyonce and into a weird year for country music.
Yes.
Beyonce, was it a country record? Was it not a country record? But certainly a lot of debate around the country record. Post Malone making a country record. The other big records being from Morgan Wallen getting arrested for, endangering people's lives by throwing furniture off of a roof. Or Zach Bryan singing alone with a guitar to stadiums full of people. Like, lots of stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, it is really crazy to see Zach Bryan's career be able to do this with absolutely no traditional radio. Now, obviously, we have known in a lot of other formats, traditional radio has stopped being the gatekeeper, but this is really watershed for country for it to truly feel like traditional airwaves are not the gatekeeper for who's going to become a massive touring phenomenon.
What about Morgan Wallen? What's the
Holds
word?
on.
I mean, he was like Oh yeah, that little thing with the SNL. Yeah, forget that. Nobody cares about that, and people don't. They've moved on.
People do not. I will say that they absolutely do not. I'm always sort of pulling anecdotally to see like when these things that feel like massive controversies in my own life, because I'm so logged on and following all these people's careers, make it to like the desk of the regular people in my life. And the Morgan Wallen stuff has really taken the longest. His fan base doesn't care. They're not logged on in that way. I'm not saying they're like not literate worldly people, but it's not the drama they're looking for. And so
Right.
it's easy for it to pass them by. And they like his music and they like going to his shows, and it feels like an uncomplicated listening for them. They're not going to abandon him. I wish Morgan the best. I hope that it all settles down.
What is it? I mean, you had Shabuzi with the biggest song of the year from anything as a defining country artist. You had Zach Bryan, you had Still Morgan, and then you have Beyonce doing whatever it was that Cowboy Carter did in all of that. What do you see all that adding up to?
I love that it means I think people are going to get less scared with their writing. My frustration with somebody who really likes country music in the last 10 years has been that somebody breaks through and then so do 6 people who are doing an okay impression of them. Like how long is Cole Swindell going to tour as trying to be Luke Bryan? When are people going to just start breaking out and say, well, what is it I just want to make? I hope what people will take from this year is that you could just go make something and there's an audience for it. And while it's so annoying to have to oversee all these social platforms and all these different outlets, it also means you have a lot of opportunities to be trying new stuff and find a little niche for yourself and find an audience for yourself that in country music has been almost impossible in the last 10 years. If you did not have traditional radio support, you could not have a viable career in Nashville. And I feel like that has to be on people's minds now that that's not true. And you could have a massive career by abandoning all of that. Like, that's huge.
Man, I mean, you mean the way that sort of Beyonce was not played on country radio and yet had such a massive country song.
Beyonce's not looking for any notes from me, but the one thing that I felt with her and Post Malone's rollouts are they just wanted to be so clear that this was not a country record. And it's like, okay, what point does that really make? Why, just make a country record and then make it better than everybody else. We're going to call it a country record because it sounds like one. It felt like a weird subplot to me that I didn't enjoy, in the way that looking at Zach Bryan, who says he's a country artist and is a country artist, and he's just reshaping the industry. I like that a little bit more. Like Post Malone, in writing about him, his materials are so carefully scripted to say he's not becoming a country artist. And it's like, okay, like, you're like splitting hairs. It's a country record and it's good.
Which they worked to country radio, and it's the Beyonce one is complicated, right? Because she did make the big statement, this isn't a country album, it's a Beyonce album. Like that was, and yet, of course it came from a lot. We know this was the response to the CMAs rejecting her and the Chicks, and coming from Texas and all the things that she brings. But she was from the beginning careful to say that, and yet everybody pushed back as, well, I don't know if she could make a country record. Like, it was weird. And there was all this resistance to the CMAs didn't nominate her for any country awards, when everything I'm told is she didn't submit to the CMAs. So, there's so much being layered onto that I don't think has anything to do with what it is that really she's trying to do here.
And it's all this noise that I think sets people back from even wanting to listen to it. Yeah. It's a great record. Yeah.
It is a great record, and it's not a country record.
It's a Beyonce record? Is that what
it's a Beyonce record? I mean, aside from the lead single, which was so groundbreaking and that people love, Ya, when my other favorite track, that ain't no country record.
No.
Yeah.
Right.
And the track with Miley isn't, and the track with Post isn't.
Right.
It's just not. It's something else. So these were successes. Let's talk about flops, because we had some high profile belly flops this year.
Yeah.
Where do you want to lead?
I guess since we're on the topic of women, let's do Katy.
Let's talk Katy Perry.
That did not work out. I actually remember thinking at one point, wow, that record really didn't work out. And then realizing it wasn't even out yet.
Wow.
Already a bomb.
Wow.
Yeah, like it was already a bomb.
That's a record right there.
We were only 2 singles in, and I was like, "Oh, man, like that we've got a long way to go, before we can even call this a bomb." You know, the thing with Katie is that Katie is trying to manufacture what everybody else is doing naturally, and you can't do that, right?
What
Like,
does that mean?
Chapel is naturally a weirdo, and she's making something that she feels like making, and Sabrina Carpenter has her thing figured out, and Charlie XCX has been doing this for a while, and this is what Charlie XCX wants to do. And Katie is sort of trying to borrow all these things, and it feels very scientific of trying to capitalize on like girl power messengering and this look and like these colors and just working with all these people, and none of it feels true. And I think it's a reminder that audiences are really smart and they know when they're being lied to, and that just comes off like a lie. Like it's just hard to listen to.
When their artist is not being genuine in the art that they're putting
Yeah.
out.
Like, I mean, I think that she's so concerned with the performance of things and she forgot to just make something that she wants to make.
I don't think that that's the case for Dua Lipa, and her album tanked. I thought there was some great stuff on there. And it's just my question for both of them is, what? So Katie's ship has sailed. Her time has passed.
Maybe.
Or is it? It's just one song away from a comeback. It always feels like that to me.
We're always all one song away from
a comeback. Diddy is one song away from a comeback.
Well, he may be.
No, I have said this many times. The American people will forgive anything for a hit.
I think Dua, we've talked about this a little bit. I think Dua is really interesting because I think Dua Lipa has deliberately made herself a very old-fashioned kind of pop star. It's not about the offstage. It's not about the lore. It's not about who she's dating. It's not about the story. But that is what pop music is now. And so that kind of means she's as big as her most recent single. And if everybody loves it, everybody loves her. And if they don't, then they are ready to forget about her pretty quickly because it's not the same game. And I think she's going to turn. I didn't actually watch this weekend and I have it taped. She did this recording at the Royal Albert Hall TV special with an orchestra.
I heard about that.
And I think Dua is going to sort of move into a different lane. I don't think that she's going to play that same, what you're saying right now, Madison, against those other girls kind of pop star game. Because I don't think that she wants to do what that requires right now.
The other thing that's notable about Dua is that even when it was like her 7th single off her debut album that finally did well enough that they put out the album. I mean, she's always taken a long time to track with audiences. There's always been something atypical about her reception. There's always been something atypical, you're right, Alan, about her personal life and who she's dating. It has always kind of landed a little bit differently. I think Dua makes great music. I think that she is certainly one song away from being back to what everybody's talking about in a way that I don't think Katie, needs to have an actual, she needs to reset and figure out what she wants to make here.
Do we need to mention Justin Timberlake before we move on?
We do.
Yeah.
Was it Britney? Was it the arrests? Was it crappy music? What was what do we attribute?
Yeah, I mean, the music wasn't great. And if the music was great, it could have survived the rest. But the rest, his single coming out and then a week later, Britney's memoir with the passage about the abortion coming out is sort of a death knell when it's not all good. I think there's also a lack of believability with him, right? The only news stories we hear about his personal life are pictures that look like he may be sleeping with somebody other than his wife or, all this stuff. And then he comes out with a song about how he's just the best husband. And you're like, there's just something maybe not tracking here. Are we on a PR spin? Are we culling the depths of our soul? I don't know. The arrest certainly didn't help. So
yeah, there was that.
Those are the biggest flops. I mean, I thought that the Justin would at least do a little bit more. Justin really did. Because of the Britney, he really engaged with no traditional press in supporting this record. And so I think that he was trying to find footing with his hands a little bit tied behind his back. And when your music's not awesome, that's pretty hard to do.
I feel like maybe it's late in the day for me to bring this up. We forgot to mention, I was just literally just thinking about it, the Dave Grohl kerfuffle.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Dave.
I just, where do we come down on
Listen.
that? There's another situation where, God, he's such a good guy. He wasn't cheating on his wife, was he?
Well, the thing is, rock stars have been having children outside of the confines of their marriage for a long time. The problem is that Dave has positioned himself as the ultimate rock star husband and dad.
Right.
And
He's a good guy.
He should have just not done that. He should have maybe also gotten a vasectomy. Like, don't risk this.
Wow.
You cannot be risking this.
I long ago gave up on speculating or judging what what somebody does off stage and in their own life. But you're absolutely right that what he, that he had positioned himself such that anything, that was scandalous was going to be a huge blow and fall from grace for him, because he was the nicest guy in rock and roll, and he always talked about his kids, and he always talked about his wife, and that was the thing. And I believe all of that, and we've all dealt with Dave, and he is the nicest guy. Like, that's not false, but then if you don't live that, then the bill's gonna come due.
Yeah, I also do want to be clear that cheating on your wife is not a crime, right? It's not great.
And it's, as you say, in the music business, let alone most other places, it's happening all over.
So I don't want to pretend like this is like cancel worthy, like we need to be worried for public safety levels of scandal. It's only because he has positioned himself as so not that guy that it is even news. And so it's really more of like a lesson in PR marketing than it is.
It's really true. Anybody else, rock star cheats on wife, is not making the papers.
Yeah, and he can still be the great guy that we've all met. Like, this is really, like, I want to really contextualize this. Like, we're not talking about somebody who has allegations against them. We're talking about somebody who had an affair. But it's just a crazy risk that he was taking given where he has situated himself in the industry.
So Madison Vane advocates castration for
last thing before we let you out of here. We had some bands get back together, some that stuck, some that didn't. What stood out from you of reformations and breakups?
Reunions, yeah.
Who's the breakups, you guys?
Well, we had Jane's Addiction, who
right.
managed to pull off both in a short period of time.
Yes.
Extra points there.
That was actually incredible. We had some writers who were at the Pier 17 show for Jane's Addiction.
I was there too.
You were. Okay, so you can corroborate this or let me know what you think. Days before this whole went to hell, I guess.
Yeah.
And their review was, wow, you could barely hear Perry. And he sounded they couldn't tell if he sounded weak or if the sound mix was so off that the band was so much louder. So I wasn't shocked when the fight came out with him saying that they were too loud and they were taking all of the noise. It seemed like the review from people who I knew in the crowd was that Perry really was not up to that. That he was not really performing that great, and that he did sound pretty feeble.
From the audience, what was happening was vague, unless you were down front. Because as you say, couldn't you through the show already? His mix was bad,
right?
It sounded, what we could hear, he sounded off. And in fact, there's friends of mine who have worked with that organization, and he's been drunk basically, and really just kicking up a fuss and just making trouble for himself. Ultimately, that was what happened. I don't even know, what actually happened on stage, who was too loud, or it was just Perry being drunk, and that Dave Navarro, Perry Farrell
dynamic.
Yeah.
Listen, bands are hard. It's hard to be in a band.
No. Yeah. And not the biggest of reunions. I mean, come on, they're a great band, but they're playing, the Pier and Shetty kind of
splitting
places.
A bill. Yeah, I mean,
splitting a bill. But then you had, we were talking about Coachella before, and slow ticket sales, barely selling out, even with the announcement of No Doubt. Which was, I think, their way of maybe saving Coachella. But
do we care a lot about a No Doubt reunion?
Well, that's the thing. Prior to it being announced, I thought more people would have cared.
It seems the popularity of Gwen Stefani in that universe that she now resides does not reflect back on No Doubt.
Yeah, I do think that there's been a real schism in people's minds where she is the voice and she's
not a rocker anymore.
Doing commercials for like Christianity. Like, I think that there's somewhat of a divorcing of the mind of all of just the actual rock stardom that she really had that got her here in some ways.
And then there's the Linkin Park-ish reunion,
Ish. Right.
with weird feelings all around, with Chester's family saying we don't like that they're doing this, which I think really sort of puts a casts a
Yeah.
bad shadow around it.
I mean, that makes it hard for a fan to feel like they want to go. I get the family feeling like we're not sure they want to do this. Now, I
But
also
is that
get that
fair? I
people
mean,
need to make money, and this is how they might be able to support themselves. And they certainly had a hand in making these songs. I don't know that the family should get to say, you don't get to do that. But it definitely makes it a very hard thing to go and celebrate and just go listen to the music.
well, what did we think about? I was impressed that they chose a woman to replace Chester, and she sounds great. It's like part two or next phase, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm a deadhead. I've gone to a million different versions of that
Well,
band.
oh my
Like,
gosh, yeah,
It takes very
yeah,
little to still count.
yeah.
as long as there's one founding member there.
I just saw the Temptations on TV this morning.
Yeah,
There
like,
is one guy,
Oh yeah.
one guy left at 83 years old.
I don't think it's weird for them to reform and then tour the music. I mean, the
I
alternative
don't
is
either.
music dies, so
People get over it. It happened when Alice in Chains came back. It happened when Stone Temple Pilots came back. Stone Temple Pilots came back with Chester originally
right.
as the singer, so it's that initial shock.
And look, I think, as you said, I think bringing a woman there into that slot where you're not competing as directly with, it's not going to be a Chester Bennington imitation, it's something else, I think is an interesting frame to put around it. It's almost that allows for more of a future, even as it sort of complicates the catalog.
Right.
Yeah,
For
and
sure.
people want to hear, I mean, you guys, we've all devoted our lives to this. There's nothing better than going and hearing songs you love live, right? Like surviving all of like the headache of what it takes to get to a concert and then having like that musical experience is like the most pure joy. So they should let the music live. And if fans want to go hear it, people should go hear it.
And people forget that this is a stadium act. This was a massive,
I know.
massive
Huge
band.
band.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
For sure.
All right.
We didn't really touch too hard on the Cure reunion, which is, I think that's the biggest reunion of the year for me.
Well, and the music is so good.
And the music is surprising, right? Oh my God. I didn't expect that.
It's been coming because of all the touring and because they were playing the new songs on the tour. Like, it wasn't a sort of out of nowhere reunion. It was, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for him to finish and finally declare that there's a new album. 16 years later, we get it. It's as great as it is, and it is great. It delivers all the way around. No,
Well,
Right.
that's the thing. I mean, the band never broke up. It wasn't a reunion, but it was becoming a Chinese democracy kind of thing
Right.
where we have an album, there's music, we'll play some for you here and there. And 16 years later, you didn't get Chinese democracy. You got a phenomenal record, and that was the thing I think that blew everyone away, was the quality of this record, which is amazing.
And we're all looking forward to that tour.
And the next record. And
And
then the one
well-
after that. That's
Well,
those
but
are-
I thought that was the thing. I thought he's going to do this tour, and that's probably going to be it. No,
he's got rolling 2 more
3
albums
years,
out.
3-year plan.
Three-
oh, that's
three-year
right, the
plan.
3-year plan. Right. We'll see how well that sticks.
So-
Okay. Is there anything else we need to cover here? What do you think, Madison? Did we get everything?
No, I mean, that was like the big stuff, right?
I think that I think
Any
so.
quick
I
hits
think so.
for 2025? We got Gaga coming, probably, we think. We got Lana Del Rey coming. Anything else in your sights?
I mean, I'm always on the lookout for what is Lana going to do. And as you guys know, I'm always looking for a Rihanna record. And
Oh, yes.
one day she's going to give me one. I know it.
I thought that was sort of in the works.
I mean, it's always sort of in the works, but you don't rush Rihanna.
You do not. You can't. She's got other ways to make money. She does
I was
not
just
need
going to say
your.
she has other things to do. She's not in any rush.
All right.
Madison Vane, always great to have you. It's been too long since we've had you on Sound Up. We miss you, and thank you so much. Happy holidays to you and yours.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Welcome back. It's Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light. We thank you for sticking with us all year. You may, if you've been with us, you know that towards the end of this year, we introduced a Throwback Thursday segment on social media. Each Thursday, we post a throwback question, and we let you, the Sound Up Pod Squad, submit your answers and stories.
So this last week, we asked, what was your very first concert? And wow, did we get a bunch of responses. By far, our most discussed throwback topic yet. We wanted to read back just a few. Dolores wrote, Iron Butterfly. I was maybe 14 and I won the ticket in a radio contest. I rode my 10-speed to the radio station to get the ticket, parked my bike outside the arena doors, and it was still there when the concert ended.
Oh, man.
To this day, I am unclear on two things. One, did my mom know and endorse this activity? And two, what was that band doing in my small town of Nowheresville, Canada? Where apparently you can trust people enough to leave your bike tied up outside and know it's still going to be there after the show.
Yeah, or at least it used to be like that.
At least
anyway.
It used to be like that.
That's impressive. Well done, Dolores. Iron Butterfly. Damn.
I want to know how close to the Inagata-Vita moment. Was this like 10 years later? So they take any gig they could get?
Were they on like a remember tour or something? Remember Us? Melanie Collins Hill says, Elvis at the Charlotte Coliseum. Wow. I was 5. I'm thinking she means Costello. I'm just going to go with that.
I'm not thinking that.
I'm just go.
Good that she didn't say. I'm going to say Elvis. If it's the actual Elvis, that's a fantastic first concert.
That is a stunning first. You never saw Elvis, did you?
I never saw Elvis. No,
I never did either. Our friend Rick Hellinger writes, I'm with you, Rick. I'm dating myself, but Seals and Crofts at SPAC, the Saratoga Performing Arts Center in 1973. So Rick, if you're listening, you're not the oldest date. We had somebody who just saw Inagata-Vita.
Well, again, we don't know quite when. And some kind of prize to our friend Jenny Bernstein in St. Louis. Jen writes, the Village People and Joan Rivers in Vegas. I was 10 and my parents were weird.
Bravo.
Village People and Joan Rivers, age 10 in Vegas. That is top of the mountain.
I will say this. I noticed going through the social answers on both Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, there was a surprising amount of people who said the Police were their first show.
Oh, that was a recurrent?
It was a recurrent one. Yeah, it was really interesting.
That's a pretty good concert.
If you've listened to us in years past, my answer to this was seeing Elton John in 1976 on the eve of my 10th birthday, Cincinnati's Riverfront Coliseum, the summer of Philadelphia freedom. That is my first, and I have spent the rest of my life trying to chase the feeling that I had that night. That's why I'm still here today.
Oh, the anger when he did Philadelphia Freedom.
No, I know you hate Philadelphia Freedom. I know you hate
when he played
Jets.
Crocodile Rock.
I don't know how you feel about. I know you don't know how you feel about "Don't Go Breaking My Heart." I loved all of it. I loved every second of it. So yes, that's
all
me.
good. It's fantastic. That's fantastic. Roger,
no surprise either. I saw Kiss at Madison Square Garden in 1977. I was 8 years old. My dad took me, my brother, and my cousin, and it is the reason I sit here and do this.
There today. It is. There you go.
There seem to be, from the responses that I've been reading online and the couple that we mentioned here, there have been a lot of people whose parents took them to their first concert. That's with you, Alan, right? Your
mom took me to that. Yeah.
Roger, you too?
Yeah,
was it your brother?
My dad.
Your dad took you to see Kiss?
Yeah, my dad took myself and my brother and a cousin, yeah.
That's awesome. No wonder you guys are such good people. You had great parents.
Different world. Yep.
My parents, there was no freaking way they were taking me to any kind of rock and roll show.
And I will say this, my dad did tape the concert. My dad worked for Magnavox at the time. Literally out of the What's Happening playbook, he had the cassette player
with the box,
under his jacket.
Under the jacket.
With, same type of, only he didn't drop it in front of the band. Props to my dad for that.
Perfect. That is perfect. And did he then press it up and and send it out and just the bootleg?
No, he did terrify me
bootleg.
at the concert because we were kids, and there was a guy in front of us and had one of those. It's like the thing you have like popcorn in, like one of those funnels, and he lit it as a torch. And I remember this is like the thing I remember most about the concert. And my dad starts walking to this guy, and I'm like, oh my God, my dad's going to get into a fight at our concert, blah, blah, blah. And my dad just pulled out a Pall Mall and said, hey, can I have a light? How was that?
Perfect. Going with it. I love that. All right. Well, I'll just say my first one that I can remember was the McCoys at Steel Pier in Atlantic City. If you grew up in Philly like I did, then you know Summers in Atlantic City was the thing. And that was, I think, 1965 when Hang On Sloopy was a hit. But also that same summer, I saw Gene Krupa, and I don't know which was which.
I love that answer so much. I mean, love the McCoys, not a bad answer, but Gene Krupa is such a good answer.
I was, at that time, a crappy drummer. I was attempting, I had drums, I was in a band, but I sucked. So
saw that and said, I'm putting down my sticks.
Right. Ringo can do it. Oh, wait a second. Wait, this guy's a lot better than Ringo. Okay. But there you go. It was first concerts, man. And do keep your eyes on our social media, because these throwback Thursday questions have been really, really fun. And we love hearing from you on these. So I think that's pretty much going to wrap up this edition of Sound Up. We still have a couple more before we wrap the year. Check us out on socials and YouTube for exclusive content and more, all at Sound Up Pod. 2 more year-end episodes to go, and we'll kick off season 2 in 2025. We got picked up for season 2. Cool.
Please remember to go give us a 5-star review at your streaming platform of choice. Like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube page, and email us your thoughts as voice messages or typed out at connect@sounduppod.com. Email connect@sounduppod.com.
We thank you for joining us. Thank you for supporting us here on Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light.
Sound Up is produced by Roger That Media, distributed by Revolver Podcasts, theme music by Smile from Tokyo. For more info, go to sounduppod.com.
Roger that.